We do have a... Oh, yeah. We do have a motion to adjourn. That is the first motion of business. If that does carry by the will of the committee, that we will so be adjourned. And we do have to dispose with that first. MP Maloney.
Would I be allowed just to mention something in respect to my motion? Look, and this is picking up on Mr. Brock's point earlier. We always have worked with a collaborative spirit at this committee. We're not in committee business at this stage. We've struck a subcommittee whose responsibility it will be to initiate whatever studies we're going to do, Mr. Brock. I would think that I appreciate you tabling this motion. None of us have had an opportunity to consider it. I think it would be appropriate to adjourn, and then we can consider this at another date.
Speaking on this motion, yep.
On this motion. Mr. Chair, it's probably going to be no secret to yourself or Mr. Maloney, or in fact the entire Liberal membership at this committee, that we'll be opposed to adjourning this matter for a number of reasons. It will come to a vote, but I think it would be important for me to establish why we are objecting to this. And I appreciate what Mr. Maloney is saying, that we can pick this up in the fall as another motion and perhaps add to it or speak to this in due course. But Canadians sent us back to work, and it has been a significant period of time since going back to the 44th Parliament, where we broke in mid-December for our winter break, only to find that Justin Trudeau decided to resign as leader of the Liberal Party and plunge the country into proroguement. This wasn't the will of the majority of parliamentarians. We expected to come back at the end of January and continue our work. But because of that procedural move, which I would say, in my humble opinion, was extremely selfish, and it was only to advance the interests of the Liberal Party of Canada and its members in Parliament, we had to go through a leadership race. We are then plunged into a general election, which we all anticipated would probably happen after the new Prime Minister was selected as the leader of the Liberal Party of Canada. And we waited, after the election, we waited another month before we finally returned to Parliament. And I appreciate that the circumstances and the issues surrounding the election were such that there were certain priorities given to the Liberal mandate, which is now being argued and debated in the House of Commons. But throughout this entire process, Mr. Chair, and I would dare say backing up for at least 3 years, there has been a prevailing movement right across this country to have the federal government finally address some weaknesses in our criminal justice system, but in particular bail reform. And it wasn't just opposition MPs who voiced objection. As we all know, and as this country has known, there has been a ground swelling of support for change. We've heard from premiers of provinces, premiers of territories. We've heard from police chiefs from across this country. We've heard from presidents of police associations. We've heard from
legal
legal
order,
groups.
Mr. Chair. Well, Mr. Brock, I don't want to interrupt, and you know my, based on my past behavior, I'd like to let you have the floor, but there's a motion on the floor to adjourn. It's not subject to debate. The submissions you're making now, with all due respect, pertain to the motion you've dropped on us today. I think we vote on the motion to adjourn. Depending on the outcome, we proceed from there.
Do you have a lot more, MP Brock? Yeah, I know your colleagues Gill and Lawton want to speak
Yeah,
as well.
I have a little bit more, but not much.
Okay, let's try to be brief.
Yeah, I'll be brief. This is an issue that we all heard on the doorsteps when we were canvassing. This is an issue that is not going away, and simply pushing this on the back burner because the chair recognized Mr. Maloney over myself. We both had our hands up at the same time. I simply can't advance my particular motion until I'm recognized by the chair. I exercise the appropriate procedure. And I think Canadians don't expect us to delay and punt this issue further down that proverbial football field. It needs to be addressed today. And that is why I will proudly not support Mr. Maloney's bid to adjourn this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. MP Gill.
Mr. Chair, I also want to touch base on the issue of crime. We all know that we have gone through the election here recently, and what I have heard from the people at the doors is completely different. They are really scared, and Canadians are increasingly worried about their safety. Whether it's break-ins, car thefts, gang violence, or drug trafficking, people are feeling the effects of failed Liberal policies every single day. Even in Brampton, families are living with fear that crime is no longer the exception. It's becoming the norm, and they are facing every single day. This is not just perception. In 2023, I would like to bring some data here. Auto theft claims hit 1.5 billion nationwide, a staggering 254 increase since 2018. Ontario alone saw vehicle thefts skyrocket by 48% in just 2 years. There's tens of thousands of cars stolen annually. It's from the Insurance Bureau of Canada. Firearm-related violence also surged to its highest level on record. With nearly 14,000 violent gun incidents across Canada, communities in Ontario, New Brunswick, and BC were hit hardest. That's from the Statistics Canada. Gang violence is out of control. In 2023, almost a quarter of all homicides were gang-related. Even more alarming, 31% of homicide suspects were under the age of 18. That's nearly double the previous year's rate. That's also from Statistics Canada. In Peel Region, police made the largest drug bust in their history,
Point of order.
but 6 of 9 accused dealers were already out on bail. In another operation targeting an extortion ring, half of those were...
MP Gill, just let me interrupt you. There's a point of order.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Gill, I don't mean to interrupt you in your speech, but it seems very clear to me that you are speaking to the substance of this motion, which I'm sure you will have the opportunity to do so. I just want to bring back the point that there's this motion to adjourn, Mr. Chair, and so I think it would be opportune at this point to vote on that motion, and if it does not pass, then we'll entertain all representations and all points of views with regards to the substance of the motion. So I want to just reiterate that I'm calling the vote to adjourn. It seems to me that we're discussing the merits of the motion, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
I appreciate my friend's suggestion. Nonetheless, you have to look at the substance of the motion itself in order to ascertain the urgency, which is the point that's being stressed by the opposition members here. We can't discuss the motion to adjourn and potentially the need to adjourn without addressing some of the substance in the opposition motion. So I appreciate my friend's position, but I think Mr. Gill has the floor. Would be very grateful to be able to conclude each of us briefly.
Typically, as members well know, these motions to adjourn go immediately to a vote. I've allowed some leniency in the spirit of a new committee being met, hopefully with the spirit that Mr. Brock represented as Vice President when he got elected. I have allowed some leniency. This will go to a vote very shortly, but I would like Mr. Lawton and those back to Maloney to be able to speak briefly if they have a point that is pertinent to the motion and not Mr. Brock's motion.
Okay. So I will...
No, it's over to Mr. Lawton now.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the Liberals' belief that adjournment should take place immediately, I am new to the House of Commons, and I was elected, as were all of us on the Conservative side, in large part due to our desire to have safer streets in this country and our desire to get serious about bail. And the number of people that brought up the urgency to them and to their communities on the crime situation was absolutely staggering. Now, look, I accept that the Liberals won this election. The Conservatives had argued that members of Parliament should sit through the summer because all of these issues that are facing our country are still here regardless of the outcome of the election. And I do not think it would be opportune for any of us, including my Liberal colleagues, to pack up this committee's work for 3 months without having done a single thing to help the crime-riddled communities of our country. And I speak on behalf of my own constituents in Elgin, St. Thomas, London South, but all Canadians. So I think adjournment is entirely inappropriate when we have Canadians that have elected us to get serious about this. And I actually don't think any of these members want to face their own constituents over the next 2.5 months and say that I chose to not even listen, not even debate a motion about some of these issues because I thought it was easier to start my summer vacation early.
Thank you, Mr. MP Lawton. Madame Larouche sur le point d'ordre, and then back to Mr. Maloney.
Actually, I just want to say that usually there's 48 hours before debating a motion. Are we on committee business right now at this point? No. We have just adopted the specific motion to expect that people wait for a 48-hour period before proposing a motion like the one that Mr. Brock presented. So that's a very good point. We will soon be passing to the vote, and people can vote accordingly.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. We're experiencing early onset grandstanding, I see. Look, this is a procedural motion. We vote to adjourn or not to adjourn. And I welcome the new members. There's a process in place for getting motions on the floor and having an opportunity to debate. But following the procedure, which both of you will respect, the process is to vote once a motion to adjourn
Point of order.
is made, and then we can move on. So I call the vote, Chair.
Briefly, if it's material.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, that member made an argument alongside his motion to adjourn. He followed the introduction of the motion immediately by an argument for why he thought adjournment was inappropriate. So he was the one that started debate on this motion, Mr. Chair, and I think it is entirely appropriate for us to respond to those arguments.
And again, the responses are well noted. We will now go to the vote. Everyone having, Mr. Barber, we're going to the vote. All those have had the opportunity to read the motion. All those in favor say yay. Adjourn. All those against? Motion carried. The meeting is now adjourned.
Oh my goodness, gang, I really don't know what to think. Like, we've got Marc Miller, you know, he's an issue, former Minister of Immigration, and James Maloney, I don't know if he's ever lifted a finger. And all they want to do is go on summer vacation, leaving things in the state like this. Aaron, CanadianLoonie, like, share, subscribe. Catch you in the next video. Thank you for watching this one.